Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Hart. I'm going to be breaking down this 7-game NBA slate we have here for tonight on DraftKings, talking through some of my favorite early look building block plays, doing a game-by-game breakdown, all the good stuff in this video, so let's get into it. Before we get into it, if you guys hit that like button and subscribe, do really appreciate it. It would really help out my channel. So if you guys can go ahead and do that right now, really, truly appreciate it. But yeah, let's start off here with this first game, Minnesota versus Brooklyn. For the Minnesota side, we still have Anthony Edwards out, so this offense is going to flow through guys like Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, and Jaden McDaniels, and then off the bench, we'll get Naz Reid in kind of that six-man role still. So in terms of price tags, they're all kind of cheap here, especially in this matchup versus Brooklyn. Obviously, there is going to be some blowout risk, but Julius Randle at this price tag looks really good. He's going to be super aggressive. He has the ability to potentially get a triple-double. I do like his ability for a double-double as well, so he looks like a great kind of spend-up option at 8.7. DiVincenzo's priced about right. I don't truly love it. Like, he can have, a good blow-up game. It's just one of those things, at 6.8K, you're not really getting him at a discount. So I think it's more so a fine play. Rudy's kind of there as well. He does have the ability to go for 40+ at times, but I think in terms of like the spend-up, Julius Randle is obviously the best play on this team. I don't mind, taking some dart throws at Jaden McDaniels. He's been decently aggressive. He should, see mid-30s minutes. And then moving down a little bit more, Naz Reid, once again, kind of like, DiVincenzo, where they've been solid. It just, they really haven't had any, too huge of blow-up games. But at 5.5K, I think that's an interesting price tag for him. Moving on down a little bit more, Mike Conley's still kind of getting, mid-20s minutes. If you want to go to mid 4.9, I wouldn't hate it. Otherwise, Terrence Shannon Jr. is more so dart throw play. Same thing with Rob Dillingham. I just don't think there's really need to get to any of these guys. For me personally, on the Minnesota side in this fantastic matchup, Julius Randle is probably the best play, only play I'd get to. And then secondary options for me would be Jaden McDaniels, Naz Reid, and Dante DiVincenzo if you wanted to, because obviously they're going to have a good amount of usage, and I like this matchup. So it wouldn't be surprising if, two or three of them, went for 30+, 35+ in this matchup alongside Julius Randle. Moving on to the Brooklyn side here, just a horrendous team. I think in tournament situations, these guys are all worth a look. Claxton's coming off of, two pretty good games. So if they can keep it close, Claxton would probably be my favorite play there at 5.6. You could take a dart throw on a guy like, Darren Sharp. He's very good, very productive in a short amount of minutes, especially if this game blows out. That's kind of your path to success there. Terrence Mann, he's been pretty solid the past few games, 4.1K. I think he's a strong value play there. And then I will mention Tyrese Martin, getting a good amount of run, 20+ minutes. He's 3.6. If he just hits his shots, he could be another very interesting value play there if you need some salary relief. So for me personally, it's just kind of getting to those salary relief plays, Terrence Mann, Tyrese Martin for the Brooklyn side if you wanted to get someone in that game. But otherwise, I don't have a ton of interest in the Brooklyn side overall. Moving on to Milwaukee here. Giannis is questionable. I'd assume he's good to go. They had him out of that other game. So he should be good to go here in the spot against Indiana. He's a fantastic spend-up option. Ryan Rollins looks really good here at 5.8K. He's kind of that secondary scorer, very productive alongside Giannis. So I have a lot of interest in him at 5.8. Otherwise, my only other interest would be in guys like Bobby Portis. He's more so that dart throw play. He's kind of like a Naz Reid, where they really, both of them haven't been the best this year, especially Bobby. The minutes have been very poor, especially in close games. Like, only seen 23 minutes. It wasn't even in foul trouble. He just hasn't had the same leash as he had in years past as of right now. Maybe they're slowly easing him into it. I don't know. You would think they would have used him more, especially with the makeup of this team, but they've actually been rolling, which has been surprising. But yeah, he's kind of like that Naz Reid tournament play. If you land on him, I don't mind it. He has, good upside if he can get extended run. And then, as I mentioned, Cole Anthony, kind of that backup point guard role. He's been pretty productive, 5.1K. You're not getting him at a discount, but, he should get, mid-20s minutes, and he will be aggressive when he's out there. That's really it. It's really just Giannis for me, or maybe taking some dart throw plays, shots on guys like Bobby Portis and Cole Anthony, or excuse me, Giannis for me. Ryan Rollins is like a really strong secondary option I'd get to, and then dart throw plays would be Bobby Portis, Cole Anthony for me. Moving on to Indiana here. Obviously, the offense, once again, is going to be running through Pascal Siakam, Naismith, and Jarris Walker. Those are the three main options I'd get to. I don't love the price tag for Siakam. He's kind of in a range where there's just better options to pay down for or pay up for. So for me, I just don't think there's a need to get to him. My interest lies in guys like Aaron Naismith, who has said if he can hit his shots, he should play mid-30s minutes, should be able to go for 35, 40 plus. He went for 42 in that last game against School and State. Price went up a little bit, but still, he should have a good amount of usage in this game. Same thing with Jarris Walker. You just kind of worry about foul trouble with these guys trying to guard Giannis. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go a little bit, if they bring in some centers like I want to see Isaiah Jackson's kind of a little bit on the small side, but a guy like Tony Bradley, maybe he gets extended run. Maybe you want to take a dart throw on him or Isaiah Jackson. If Tony Bradley gets in foul trouble, maybe Jay Huff gets some more run. So there will be kind of some center dart throw options for this team, just for them trying to guard Giannis. But in terms of just overall offense, really just kind of going to Naismith or Walker for me. Pascal just a little bit too pricey, even though he's been really, really good. And then Quentin Jackson, if he continues to get the starting spot, 4.7, he is definitely too cheap here. He's been super aggressive and pretty good. So I think he might be the standout play for me in the Indiana side if he gets to start once again. But what to see, with Giannis, they might, use the centers a lot more than usual. Moving on to Utah here in Boston. For the Utah side, I have a lot of interest in Markkanen, Keontae George. I think those two are like kind of the clear tier A options for this team. Keontae George is definitely priced a little bit too low here at 7.1, just with the consistency he's had and upside. Markkanen, a little bit more score independent, but still he's going to go out there and shoot this ball like 20, 30 times. It's kind of crazy. Moving on down a little bit more, the only other interest, kind of the strongest value play on the slate as of right now, is going to be Yusuf Nurkic here, moving into the starting center position with there being no Walker Kessler still out. So 4.7 for him. He looks like a really strong play there. Been really, really good, point per minute wise this season so far. So I like him as a, kind of an early look building block play. Moving on to the Boston side, Jaylen Brown's coming into, interesting price tag. Doesn't have like massive upside, but he can still get you 45, 50 plus 8.3. I think that's solid. I have a lot of interest in Peyton Pritchard right now. Pretty cheap, 6.3 for a starting point guard. The minutes haven't been too crazy, but in a close game, if he's playing well, he should see 35-ish minutes or so. And he really hasn't had like a huge explosion game in terms of points. His highest points so far has been 21. We know he can go for 25, 30 plus if he's hitting his threes, which he's been very bad at so far this season. So I like a bounce back spot here for him going against Utah. Should be a fast-paced team, fast-paced game. So I really like both of them. And then my only other interest would be in a guy like Joshua Minott if he gets to start. Been productive. Minutes have been a little bit up and down, but at 4.8, I think it's okay. But I'd really just stick with Peyton Pritchard, maybe taking a shot on Jaylen Brown. That's really it for me. Moving on to Washington in the Knicks here. Washington, I personally don't have a ton of interest. CJ McCollum and Chris Middleton are probably the most interesting ones. If there is no minutes limit on Chris, if he gets close to 30 at 5.1, that is definitely mispriced. But as I said, with Washington, they're running like 10, 11 guys out there. So it's really hard to like really anyone. I think Marvin Bagley is an interesting kind of dart throw center option if you wanted to go that route. But for me, personally, Washington's just an avoid right now. Moving on to the next side here, Karl Anthony Towns, 8.5K. That is way too cheap here in this matchup. Absolutely love that. Otherwise, that's really it for me. Not a ton of interest in anyone else there. Brunson's priced up. Moving on to Dallas, Anthony Davis is still out. Lively's out. So we get that starting rotation of Cooper Flagg, PJ, D'Lo, Gafford, and maybe Christie or Thompson there, depending on how they go. In terms of the Mavs, no one really sticks out to me, price point wise. I think Cooper Flagg's probably the best play there. Should see, mid-30s minutes. He's productive. It just, can he hit a shot? If he can, he can easily go for 40 plus. So he's probably the most interesting for me. Other than that, everyone else is more so secondary options. Like if you want to land on him, sure. Najee Marshall's interesting. Like we know he is a solid point per minute guy. Hasn't really flashed the past 3 games, but he can easily go for 20 plus here at 4,000. So I think him and Cooper Flagg are my favorite plays. Moving on to the Dallas side here, or excuse me, the Houston side. Sengun looks great at 9.3. KD is still just a little bit too priced up for me. He just is pretty much just been scoring dependent. Sengun's eating up a ton of rebounds. Same thing with Steven Adams, Jabari Smith Jr. So right now, unless some people start getting ruled out for obviously the future, if they're missing a few games, then it would make sense to get to KD at that price. But right now, he's just too scoring dependent at 8.6. So I think Sengun's a great play. Really like Amen Thompson here. He's been really good at not forcing threes, and he has really, really solid upside in terms of everything else. So he's my favorite play. That's really it. I think you can mention Eason Shepard as dart throw tournament plays. Same thing with Steven Adams. If they give Okogie the start, interesting value option, but it's really just kind of Sengun for me and then Thompson. Then moving on to Detroit, Memphis here. Detroit side, Cade is probably the best option. Really like Duren. He's been playing really, really well the past few games. So if you want to ride the hot streak there with him, don't mind it, especially in this matchup against Memphis, with Triple J being the tallest option there for the Memphis Grizzlies. Really like the upside there for Duren. Continuing that hot streak. I have a lot of interest in the star. Going to both the Thompson twins here makes a lot of sense. 6,000 for him is pretty interesting and pretty appealing. That's really it in terms of the Detroit side. Moving on to Memphis. Josh should be back. He had that 1-game suspension, so him and Triple J will be leading offense. I think Triple J is coming in an interesting price tag. Otherwise, I don't have a ton of interest in this, the Memphis side. They're just limiting Triple J and Ja to like low 30s minutes. It's just kind of weird. I just want to avoid Memphis for now. And then moving on to the last game here, Sacramento versus Denver for the Sacramento side. Sabonis, definitely a cheap price tag for him. We know he's kind of got that consistent 40, 45 plus fantasy point upside in double doubles. It's just, can he stay out of foul trouble against Jokic? So I think he's an interesting kind of contrarian option at 8.9K. Everyone else is priced a little bit too high for me. 8,000 for DeMar doesn't feel great. Same thing with Zach. Unless Schroeder and Zach get ruled out, then I'll have interest in guys, obviously like Westbrook, in some value plays here. They'll get thrusted into the lineup and obviously make a guy like DeRozan more viable. But until we get that news, hopefully we get it soon. I don't really have a ton of interest in this team besides Sabonis at the top. And then moving on to Denver, Jokic, I think once again firmly in play. He's pretty much averaging triple-double through the first 5-6 games of the season. We do have some injury news here with Aaron Gordon and Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson should be good to go. Excuse me, I meant Jamal Murray, not Aaron Gordon. But they both should be good to go. For me, it's really just taking a shot at Jokic, Murray, and then a tournament dart throw option would be Christian Brown here. Hasn't been too productive, but we know he can easily go for 30+ if he's having a good scoring game. So that's really it for me in terms of that, and that's the slate. So I think in terms of core building block plays, I think this is where I'm going to start. Peyton Pritchard, really like the upside there with him at 6.3. Karl Towns, fantastic matchup, price pretty cheap. Nurkic, 4.8, good point per minute guy so far. Should be in the starting lineup, hopefully. Thompson, really like that price tag for him there against Dallas. And then Keontae George, like that upside there in that Boston game, should be fast-paced. So I think those are great building block plays. Obviously, with the news, we just got to get confirmation in terms of those Sacramento Kings guys. That obviously will lead to some blowout risk, but it could lead to us getting into some cheap options in terms of kind of some of these guards and small forwards to kind of help pay up for other guys. So that's the video. Hope you guys hit the like button. I'll see you guys next video. Peace.